Namaste, beloveds. This is Mother with Wisdom, and I am doing this video because I'm very motivated to do so, by spirit, first of all. Myself and a lot of friends and a lot of associates, and I'm seeing in a lot of the groups that I'm in, especially those that are dealing with empaths and those that are very sensitive to the energies that are going on right now. This video has to deal a lot with the inward journey and meeting and dealing with your darker self, so to speak, and understanding that your darker self is not something that is bad, just like your lighter self isn't something that is good. Okay? Those are what is balancing you. And once you learn how to balance them, that's how you get into the energy of your higher self. And I know that's kind of self, but this is how we need to look at it in order to really understand it and really apply it in our lives. We need to understand that it is about the selves. And this is the card. I pulled the Temple of the Black Obsidian card, and I'm going to read it because it was so on point, and it was the catalyst to do a video on this card. So here we go. Temple of Black Obsidian, the dark healing chamber. Beloved initiate, the most challenging task is not to confront an external enemy, but to take courage in both hands and journey within to meet our own dark self and begin the healing task of bringing love, acceptance, and light to it. That is the sacred purpose of an enemy, within or without, to bring us more deeply into our own being as we seek to find and heal the darkness within. So, beloveds, I really hope you heard that, because there's nobody that can say they have no darkness in them. Okay, no dark thoughts, no places that feel empty or desolate, because it exists simply because we are not where we need to be in our conscious evolution, our spiritual conscious evolution. That's why we're here. That's why we're learning how to do this. And I want to say that we have been so programmed to see things in the light of what is good and what is bad, based upon somebody else's principles and moral compasses, that it's very hard to really find what we, ourselves, there goes that word again, selves, is all about and enjoys and knows and wants to discover more of. We really got to get to the point where we are free to look within ourselves and free to look at the darkest parts of ourselves, because those are the deepest parts of ourselves. And if there's any healing or anything that needs to be done, even generational, that is where it's going to be. Those are the things that were passed on in your DNA. Those were the things that are part of your core being. And so they're not just going to go away, and you can't just ignore them, because they're going to manifest themselves even unconsciously. Okay? So understand that is a part of you. And no more, if you don't want to feed that part of you, you don't have to. But at least acknowledge it and own it and claim it. This is a part of me. You know, I might not act upon it or whatever, but it is a part of me. It is a part of my darker longings. It's something maybe I'm not even consciously aware of where this desire or where this craving comes from. It may even be just in my blood, for a certain energy or a certain essence of a person. Okay, let's move forward. All I'm saying, beloveds, is don't get lost in the words dark. Don't get lost in the words bad or black or negative or any of that, because those are as necessary as the other on the scales of Ma'at to balance. Okay. The Temple of Black Obsidian is a ruthlessly honest place of raw love and healing, truly profound and lasting. Deep relief and transformation can occur here. Black Obsidian is protective and revealing. It will prevent harm from external or internal forces, but it will also reveal that which has been lurking in the shadows of the self, trying to avoid being brought out into the open for fear of condemnation. And beloveds, I want you to understand that so many of us have been hardwired this way. There are certain things that we desire, but we immediately switch it off because we have been told that's nasty or that's ugly or good girls don't act like that, or whatever. And we've got to get to the point where where we can really understand ourselves, because if you don't understand yourself, you're not going to be able to understand anyone else. Okay. Biggest challenge we face in entering the Temple of Black Obsidian is our own unwillingness to love and accept all parts of us. The initiate who is invited to enter the Temple of Black Obsidian enters into his or her own shadow, the part of us that is hidden from our own awareness and is usually only experienced in relationship to others, quite often as projection. Lady Isis, as the dark priestess of the Temple of Black Obsidian, invites you now to confront the parts of your own ego that you have denied previously. Why? Because in doing so, you will gain more freedom, come to know yourself more wholly, and you will find that life experiences and opportunities, relationships and breakthroughs that you have not been able to reach will suddenly become available to you. The dark chamber always leads to the light chamber, but one cannot avoid the initiation of the Temple of Black Obsidian on pathway to more light. And beloveds, that is simply saying you cannot get away from something. If you need to reach a certain point in your growth and there's something that you need to deal with, you're not going to get there until you deal with what you need to deal with. Yes, it may be gritty, it may be raw, it may still be an open, festering wound, but you've got to heal it. You've got to, in order for you to go to the next phase, you've got to heal that. And the more you heal in yourself, the more you heal the selves, which is the collective consciousness, which vibrates and vibrates and vibrates outward. So that is why we need to love ourselves more, because it is in loving and knowing ourselves more that the healing will take place, and that it will vibrate and echo outward, and we will magnetize to us what we need to manifest, you know, our deepest desires that's coming from a place of spiritual maturity. Okay, let me keep going. Let's see. Isis will assist you in preparing for this journey by encouraging you to not allow yourself to become your own worst enemy. Most of the fear we have before the dark chamber of healing is the fear of our own self-criticism and rejection. Beloveds, that is so powerful, because I have been there so many times. You know, that valley of the shadows of your own death, you know, where you have to go and you have to face whatever it is, and you have to allow that in you to die in order to know that you can make it to the next phase. But you have to put that part of you to rest, that part of you that carries that fear, that part of you that brings all of this angst and attracts all of this other, you know, negative energy, or lower vibrating energies. You've got to release that part of you. That is the loving thing to do for yourself. You know, it's not about somebody else. It's about you. And you have to get there. Okay. Let's see. Isis declares that readiness for the dark chamber requires a willingness to exercise non-judgment, compassion, and a readiness to accept the self in all expressions. And beloveds, this is something that I have been dealing with lately, is the fact that, you know, being raised Jehovah's Witness and just being a lot of who I am, spiritually and energetically, understanding those parts of me and allowing them that, you know, I had been taught my entire life, you know, that like the goddesses, oh, that's demonism. Everything was demonism. Everything was, you know, worldly. Everything was not of Jehovah. And everything was about not disappointing your heavenly Father. You know, and that for me, that was a very deep thing. So it's still in me, even though I know and have gained so much more knowledge and understanding of the real truth of how things are, and that truth is within me. Okay, I still have to almost have conversation with myself to allow certain thinking, even not just even acting upon those thoughts, but even the thinking of them, because that's how deep I was into that, you know, and I'm looking at it, how it's still there, and it is about, this is the repatterning. You know, the more you understand and you take on your own sovereignty, and you understand and see, you know, all the ways you are connected to the collective and how everything affects you, whether it's an anger that's going around, whether it's a sadness, you know, whether it's a joy, you feel it. You anchor it, and you have to get to the point where you know that this is who you are and what you do. And you have to allow yourself to do it. Even if you have to keep bringing yourself back to the point where you're having that same conversation over and over again with yourself. I feel like that's what I'm doing right now, having the same conversation over and over again with myself. But this is for a lot of us empathic people right now. And it's because of the lowering of the veil, the frequencies, and the entities that are coming forth, and the thoughts that are being generated, and a lot of the alignments and everything else is aligning certain things within us, and things are clicking, and we are evolving. But the more we are able to identify what's going on with ourselves, the more we'll be able to identify what's going on around us. And the more, we can communicate. And when you begin to communicate, the community benefits from that. That's what it's all about. Communicating. Okay. Not to get carried away here. Y'all know I can. To safely enter the dark chamber and be healed, you must be prepared to give yourself love unconditionally. You must be able to recognize judgments that you hold towards yourself, not as truths, but as old patterning. This is why the successful initiation of the dark chamber is a truly advanced stage of soul development. The heart has become willing to love unconditionally, and the initiate must be able to witness feelings that arise with kindness and acceptance, but not fall into them overwhelmed, crushed, or defeated by any darkness found within. And that's crucial right now for us, beloveds. This, if you don't take anything else away from this video, please understand what was just read to you. Please understand that, because it's a reason for this. Understand the energies. Look at what's going on with an open mind, not with something to worry or fear, but just to observe. Just to observe. And know what you're observing when you see it. And who you are in the things that are happening. Okay. This is why the successful initiation of the dark chamber is a truly advanced stage of soul development. The heart has become willing to love unconditionally, and the initiate must be able to witness feelings that arise with kindness and acceptance, but not fall into them overwhelmed, crushed, or deflated by any darkness found within. It is worth the challenge, because finding peace from pain, self-criticism, self-doubt, fear, and self-judgment through healing in this temple is a gift beyond measure. Okay, and I'm going to just read the incantation. Here we go. I call upon the temple of Obsidian Black. I call on the love of Isis so strong, stronger than any judgment or attack. It heals and makes whole any past wrong. I now choose to see the truth of my whole being, of my being whole. I see how in this pain I played a role. I choose to let pain of judgment be released. I choose to love and accept with deep peace. Transformation and healing now come to me. I love all parts of my being, infinite and free. And beloveds, that is that card, and that is the message, I guess, for today, for what is going on around the world with all of us, and that we're all being affected by what is here in this dimension with us right now. And you need not fear anything, but you need to be observant. And in order to rise and to become not only your highest self, but to assist the evolution, with your vibration, your expression is necessary. Be who you are. And being who you are means knowing every single part of you, every single thought, and where that thought came from. Or I sound like my mama, or blah, 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 blah. You should know your mannerisms. You should know who you are. And the things that you don't like. That's what this show is about. That's what this video is about. Your darkness, your flaws, what you see, the conversations you have with yourself. How do you commune with yourself? Yourselves? What does your community look like inside? What's going on? Are you balanced? Or is it chaotic? Because we are manifesting what we feel and think as our reality. And so, beloveds, you've got to tune in. You got to tune in. Look around you. There are so many signs and symbols. There are so many voices speaking to you right now in so many different ways, in so many different languages. And I'm not just talking about the things you can hear or see. There are alignments that have happened and that are happening. There are energies that are being awoken, okay, with everything that we're doing and how we're vibrating. Those bombs going in certain areas on the earth. Grids are opening up and all kind of different things are happening. The world spins on an axis. There's all kinds of things happening. We're not even in the same alignment with the sun that we used to be, say, 20, 40 years ago. That's why we can sit up here and say some global warming and global change. We are the ones that are causing this. We are the ones. And we have to learn how to control ourselves. And the only way to do that is by facing your fears. And if you don't have to face them alone, or if you don't have a clue as to how to start it or what to do, look around at somebody whose spirit is similar to yours, or who you can relate to. And just observe them. You don't even have to, get all up in their space, or if you're too shy to say something or whatever, but observe. See what they do, and take what is good for you out of their experience and apply it. That's wisdom. That's wisdom. That's wisdom. And that's common sense. Beloveds, we've got to start facing our fears, because if we don't, things are going to get so out of hand, because everything is going to be directed at magnifying what you fear. And if you don't have no coping mechanisms in place, if you don't know how to ground yourself, if you don't know how to breathe, if you don't know how to put yourself mentally, spiritually, energetically in another space, in another way, in another mode, whatever way you want to phrase it, then you're going to suffer needlessly, because you don't know yourself, because you still have things that you were too afraid to look into. And I'm going to tell you, because what I found in walking the path and going into my own darkness, that whole Inanna Syndrome, you go down there, okay, and you take everything, you own everything. There's nothing down there that you're not ready for, because you don't go down there until you're ready. And you go down there with your mind, I'm owning everything, every thought, every feeling, every negative, every dark, every crazy, psychopathic, whatever. Face those things and understand that everybody has those kind of thoughts. We have, just like I said, been so trained on how to be. Girls have to be feminine. They can't be little tomboys. Boys have to be macho. They can't be soft. We have been taught what that looks like, what it sounds like, and when somebody challenges it or makes fun of it, we have to be on the right side of it. We have got so much reprogramming to do. And that reprogramming begins with facing your fears. But you can't face your fears until you know yourself. And knowing yourself means looking into your feelings, understanding what makes you feel something, why you feel that way. And as an empath, I'm here to tell you, you need to find out if it's yours or if it's from the environment around you. Because empaths and sensitive people pick up other people's stuff. Sometimes it's nothing to do with you. It's not, it's not you at all. It's other people's stuff, or it could be ancestral stuff. Either way, know yourself, because you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to deal with it. And it's coming to a time, excuse me, it's coming to a time where community and family is going to be the most important thing in the world. The most valuable thing in the world is going to be people that you can trust and people that will remain loyal to you. And people that can love you unconditionally. These are the ones that you have to find. These are the ones who are your family. Okay? And it's time to find your family. It's time to get communities going. It's time, beloved. We have to. And when I say that, even our darkness, we have to be able to be intimate enough with someone else to let them know, this is what my darkness looks like. This is what it sounds like. This is what it smells like. This is it. And they need to know how to say, okay, it might be hard, but I think I can handle that. Or, baby, I can't handle that. I can't deal with that. That's too much. That's too much. And you have to be okay with that, because this is what is happening. This is what is getting ready to happen. Like-minded ones are getting ready to draw to each other like magnets, because we're dealing with that dark shit, okay, that's been blocking so much. We have to release it. It's like cleansing. And that's why you go to the dark place. Your bowels are the dark places. You go to the bowels. That's the roots of it. But that's where the most nourishment for the mind is at. That's why shit is used, as fertilizer. It is fertile. So, beloveds, look at your shit. Look at the shit that you're afraid of. Look at the stuff that is your own deepest, darkest self. Look at some things you may. I know there are some different things I'll just say in the fashion world, that as a big girl, I know, I would never, ever, never, and not because of shame, not because of any of that, just for my own taste and personal expression. But then still, that's that little part of me that will be like, and my imagination will just go bing, 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 all over the place. And, I'll be like bringing that down, be like bringing that, get out of here, get out of my head. That's part of yourself. I've got to start dealing with those parts of me that are quirky, that are illicit, that are dark, that are devious, and I've got to own it. I've got to own it. And I've got to understand that these are assets to my light, just as my love, just as my big heart is. These are assets. My darkness is assets. But I have to go in and I have to look at them from a different way. I have to process them in a different way. I have to let the light shine in on them, by loving that part of myself. by loving that dark part of myself, that part of me that doesn't get owned, doesn't get loved, that gets denied, that gets repressed and pushed back and just no. 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 Sit, boo-boo, no. That part. And we all have them. And that's what this card is about. Because, like I said, to just squish it all down into everything, beloveds, the energies that are going on right now has opened a lot of portals within and without, okay? And in these portals, there is positive and negative, good and bad, light and dark. All of that is coming forth. And all of that is going to affect you more and more and more and more, because it's about deciding who you are. Okay, your choices are going to be analyzed, and that's who you're going to be. That's the system of Ma'at that is coming back into play. I have not done this. I have not done. Knowing yourself, confessing yourself, your light and your dark. So, beloveds, I hope you get what this little video has been all about. It's been about Ma'at, which is divine justice. And that divine justice is necessary for you to be the sovereign being that you need to be. It's necessary. Those parts of you that you condemn, you need to see why you condemn them. What's there? What's behind your condemnation of them, or your not owning that part of them. Were you taught that? Were you taught that in a religious form, or were you taught that from etiquette or culture, or where did it come from? This is the time of self-analysis. This is the time of self-exploration and the journey deeper and deeper into the self, beloved. The selves. I keep being told to say the selves, and we have to own that about ourselves. Alright, beloveds, that is everything. I am Mother with Wisdom, and I thank you for listening. And I didn't make this a whole big, long, drawn out thing, so I'm happy. I hope this card had something for you. It had a lot for me, and again, it came from the Isis Oracle. Namaste, beloveds, and abundant blessings. And again, don't let what's going on in the world of politics and in the world of religion put you in such a negative state of mind that you can't see yourself clearly, to love yourself, to forgive yourself, to care for yourself. So many of us put others ahead of ourselves. That's not loving ourselves. That's not respecting our own sovereignty and divinity. Okay. Namaste, beloveds. And I'm going to stop and shut up. Okay.